Dear students, welcome to the MOOCs program. I, Professor Dr. Rajni International today teach you the topic International Environmental Institutions. The first of all, we will discuss that why we are discussing this. So, learning objective. The first learning objective is to study the meaning, function and agenda of international environmental organizations. Second is to study in detail some leading environmental international institutions like UNEP, IPCC, IUCN, WNO and World Wide Fund for Nature. For these objectives, we will discuss meaning of international environmental institution, function of international environmental institution, achievement of international environmental institution and the limitation of international environmental institutions. Dear students, in the modern competitive world, international institution symbolizes the hope for international peace, security and clean green world through global cooperation and mutual economic development. Example of international institution includes the United Nations, the International Committee of the Red Cross and the United Nations Environmental Program. So the next question is that what we mean by international environmental institution. International environmental institutions are defined as international regulations and organizations that are defined as set of international regulations that were intentionally established by pre-existing actors through explicit, legal or politically binding international agreement in order to regulate anthropogenic sources of negative externalities affecting the natural environment. Government established international environment institution in order to respond collectively to the problem they are not able to solve without institutional support. As we know that these institutions have a wide base and can reach those places where the government cannot. International environment institutions enhance the ability to make and keep agreement, they produce concern among government and they build national political and administrative capacity. The multilateral environmental agreement concluded during the past decades have established complex interlinkage between the institution established by multilateral environmental agreements and the institutions such as UNEP, UNDP and the World Bank and the fund administered by the bank, in particular the GEF. There are many international environment institutions, but all are not playing the effective role. Some institutions are little more than green window dressing, as the impact they are imprinting on international environmental jurisprudence is negligible. On the other hand, there are some organizations that have left their imprint more than their creator hoped for. They have influenced the various international treaties and have also set various international norms and regulations. Now I will tell you some notable international environment institutions. The first is United Nations Environment Program, World Wide Fund for Nature, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, World Nature Organization, Global Environment Facility, International Union for Conservation of Nature. These organizations has influenced the behavior of the government, businesses and other actors in a direction that solve various environmental problems. Now we will discuss the function of international environmental institutions. The principal function according to international organization may be summarized as facilitating international treaties and agreement, framing new principles, policies and law, acting as a forum for the negotiation of further measures and regulations, receiving report on treaty implementation by states, coordinating environmental monitoring, including information and data collection, facilitating independent monitoring and inspection, promoting scientific research, providing technical and financial support, and facilitating the participation of civil society. These organizations also studies, collect and disseminate information to the world in journal and developing nation in particular. They even provide financial help to developing nation to protect the environment by adopting modern technology. As we know that developing nation has less resources, so when we are compelling developing nation to adopt this modern technology, we should give the fund to them to adopt, to buy these particular technical expensive technology. These organizations also studies, collect and disseminate information to the world in general and developing nations in particular. They even provide financial help to developing nations to protect the environment by adopting modern technology. We know that this technology is expensive, and we also know that developing nation has less resources. So when we are compelling them to buy expensive technology, we should give them fund so that they can adopt and buy this expensive technology. These organizations with their scientific knowledge help in setting internationally acceptable norms. Due to the vast base in different parts of the world, they foster cooperation through meeting. International environmental institutions also put normative pressure on states to adopt and implement internationally acceptable norms. These organizations have the capacity to increase environmental concern in the laggard state with low concern for environment by linking various issues. These organizations adopt the policy to give incentive like transfer of knowledge, money and technology to these states to compel them to adopt international norms and regulations. The other most important function these institutions are performing is the capacity building, particularly for the developing nation whose political and administrative abilities are limited due to the lack of resources. Training program, the provision of policy relevant information and research grant may help these developing nations to create strong policy program. For example, the Ozone Fund enabled developing nations to find alternative to CFCs. These institutions are the driving force behind the individual and collective behavioral variants to observe and analyze the environmental issues.